Hi, this is Tim at the bakery. The cookies that you ordered should be delivered by now. The list of ingredients are included. Make sure that you read them carefully. Hello, it's Mark from Miami Drop-Off. Looks like you missed your delivery last night. Please drop it off at Southwest 107th Place. Our clients will not tolerate further delays. This is Thomas from the Methadone Clinic. We've scheduled a short meeting for you tonight. We're at Northwest 184th Street, apartment 105. And, don't worry. Your discretion is of importance to our clients. Good evening. This is Blake speaking. We have a job for you. There's a power outage over on 24th Northeast Street. We want you to take care of it. We already sent someone over a while ago, but it seems he didn't do a very good job. Head over there right away. They're expecting you. Keep it quick and clean. Hi, it's Ben from Miami Funeral Parlor. I'm just calling to tell you we have the tombstone order done, ready to be delivered. With a little luck, you should be getting it before the weekend.
We got 11 people in here? Oh, it's just dropped down to 2. Still says 11 on what is it? The oh, restream chat.
Going to provide people who just want to see attractive looking characters a decent experience, but the first Descendant was also put on this list for, as it says, resisting ESG, and the reason why I praised it so highly is because we just simply have a group of developers creating what they want, and that being for the majority of people. Now, because there are games released today,
There's no 11
like
people
Flipboard,
watching
the
me.
Siege of Dawn, that are not trying to appeal to people like us, and that's perfectly fine. The developers are creating something they think is going to sell to modern audiences, aka sensitive snowflakes on social media, and they're allowed to create games like that. But we have seen titles like that fail time and time and time again, and something like The First Descendant looks like a mashup of other popular games and some that were less popular, like Anthem, for example. I've seen a lot of Anthem comparisons, but not necessarily negative ones. Anthem looked really cool when we just saw teasers and trailers, and a lot of people were hoping that was going to turn out to be the next big Call of Duty or Halo or Destiny. Unfortunately, it didn't. It was really low quality, monetization was terrible. But with this, while it does have that same feeling, it also has the feeling of several other really amazing games, like Remnant, for example. I loved Remnant and Remnant 2. I thought they were great. It feels like that. Also akin to something like Stellar Blade, because it's got very flashy and attractive character models. Now, will this game come out and be the best game ever? I'm not sure. Haven't played it yet. It releases in a week. But I do know I, like many other people, will be giving it a chance. And now that it's so close to launch and they're putting out these character teasers and trailers, so many people are praising this game for being extremely sexy, but also looking like it's got very sharp, quick fast-paced combat, which, yes, people do want. I mean, here is the first character trailer for the character named Bunny, and you can tell right off the bat, the developers are not afraid to highlight the female character's best assets. I mean, this is an outfit that I personally think actually looks really fantastic, and this is something I said about Stellar Blade.
What's up, Terrorball? How you doing?
Next to naked to look good, and in this case, she's got on a full body.
How's it going?
Skin at all whatsoever, but her curves are highlighted. You can still see that she's got a very feminine body. She's got a lot of different elements, like the color scheme, for example. It just looks like a very well-designed character. Her ability set also looks really cool, like the speed of light ability, as you're seeing here. It looks like it's going to be almost, I hate to compare it to Overwatch, but like a Tracer, very quick pace, being able to move
But you're not
around
getting
enemies,
anywhere.
not being able to pay
So at
attention.
first level,
also
you
have
fight
this
monsters
maximum
that are
power
goblins
beam,
and
which looks
orcs,
awesome. A
and
lot
it takes,
just
you know, a
with
certain
this
amount of
game
rounds
looks
to kill
really
them, and you
cool.
have a certain percentage
Grappling
chance to hit them,
everywhere
etc.,
with the
etc.
glow bomb,
And then at
that's
fifth
just
level,
one
you're fighting
character. Then
fifth
you
level
have
monsters,
Valkyrie,
and you have a certain chance to
also
hit them, and it takes a
looks
certain amount of time to
super
kill them. And at
creepy.
ninth level,
Seeing
and
designs
so
like this
the
very
gameplay
appealing to
stays.
as well. It's just
Have you
horrific.
been on
They're
Twitter,
people who are not
Terrorball?
afraid to make
Is your
female
timeline is like
characters who look extremely feminine and male characters
horrendous
who
as
look
mine?
extremely
It's just such a
masculine, and
ball of
these are things
negativity.
we're seeing villainized in
What the
this
fuck?
game. Yes, we do still
What
appreciate
happened?
the bombshell beautiful
Oh.
women or the very strong
Shit.
men.
I
That's
missed
just
it.
not really the norm in Western game development, and it's a reason
I
why
missed it
some
again.
companies
It was too small.
I mean,
Somebody
this
did
Lexi
something.
Jones, the ultimate protector with powerful barriers and unmatched
Oh, I know what I
weapons,
should do.
and he just kind of seems overall like a Chad. He seems like the stereotypical hammer-wielding badass who's not gonna take no for an answer. He knows what he has to do. He has to get in, get the job done. He's a protector. His shielding and dome abilities, or it's called hyper cube, even though it looks like more of a dome to me, looks awesome. The orbital barrier. I mean,
Damn
this
it.
game seems like it is going to be really fun. And one of the best, yet could turn out to be worst parts, is the fact that this is a free-to-play.
You're 11 beers in. I would.
I love hearing free-to-play.
That would be. That would be like the end of my night. That's me after like 10 hours. I try to pace myself.
It is Nexon. They are known for questionable monetization, and at this point in time, we don't know what the monetization scheme is going to be for this game. And that, for me, is really the only reason why I still am not as excited.
I'll never know what that notification was. I'll just never know.
We're seeing this
Can't
really
scrub to
speedy
it.
combat, creepy, unique abilities
I think
with
someone might have
weapons
subbed to me. It was just like too small. I couldn't read it.
what is going to make or break this game. And I mean, even though we don't know, people are still very excited, saying this looks really cool. I'm super pumped.
Yeah,
I hope this
that's
turns
good.
out to be as good as me. Tanky Boy, he's going to be my starter on launch day. Can't wait to
There's so much.
gameplay. I do think that, you know, because so
Just
many
everyone's
people
calling
just
each other
play
fucking
so
pedophiles
accurate,
and
it is amazing
trying to
see
ruin
so
each
many
other's
people
lives
interact,
and
but I do think that
get people arrested and shit, and spreading lies. It's like, and these are all adults, and I just look at it and I'm just like, oh, this is so horrible.
It's a character model people want to see in video games. Never mind when you add on the awesome looking gameplay, the variety of abilities. I mean, there is nothing with this game at this point in time that looks bad, and that's why so many people are praising it at this point. So it will be interesting to see when it comes out if it ends up being as good as we've all been hoping. It does look to be really, really solid so far, but with this level of hype that has surrounded it, it just goes to show that when companies are resisting things like ESG and creating what they want to create, and they know what players also
relatively the same all the way through. In fact, 5th edition, with its bounded accuracy mechanics, is specifically designed to do that. So was 4th edition. X is specifically assigned not to do that. The character power increases the fighters, and not just the mages, but the fighters and the other combatants increase in power exponentially, so that at 1st level, you're like a Roman legionary, but at 9th level, you're Achilles. And no other game in the tabletop space does that the way we do.
Yeah, this is, I started, and this is a terrible advice if you want to get into TTRPGs, but when I was a kid, I first got a D&D. My uncles purchased the game, and it was Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. And, to the 80s.
I don't. I get sucked right into it, and I'll be nasty to people too. And then I'll see it, like the next day, I'll see some shit that I said, and I'm like, you're a psychopath. Why are you doing this on the internet? It's like, why are you just fighting with people? Because it's all this shit. It's all of this shit. So I'm like friends with, and I do some video stuff for the biggest problem in the universe with Dick and Vito. And I've made friends through working on that show. And there's this whole thing, I can't explain it. There's some like fucking flame war between people, and somebody got arrested over like basically a false police report. It's crazy, and it's all like people like trying to ruin each other's lives because they got made fun of. And I just opened Twitter, and it's all this and all this. I'm hooked up with. I have in my feed the comics Twitter, indie comics Twitter. Fucking craziest people ever, just nasty, constantly talking about how they hate each other, and it's just fucking. I don't know. Like I'm not even like involved in it. It's just secondhand. Just like, ugh. None of it is directly happening. Well, I guess it does make sense why it does actually make me angry.
To TTRPGs, but when I was a kid, I first got a D&D.
Sorry, I'm just like rambling about stuff you're probably not even cross paths with or seen. Being nice and respectful fucks with people's head, so I shouldn't just call them a retard. Yeah. I think I should like just not go on Twitter anymore. Puts me in a bad mood.
Indeed. My uncles purchased the game, and it was Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. And to the one of AD&D's strengths, so it does have all that an expectation that people are ever actually going to use them, which I kind of find interesting.
Most of the rules, I would disagree. Most of the rules are not in there, and the ones that are in there are generally broken and don't make any sense. They work on the basis of a hand wave. So, for instance, the upcoming D&D rules, 6th edition, the downtime mechanic, is you can spend a month of downtime to gain a level. Okay? So, why am I an adventurer then if I could just gain levels in my downtime? And why isn't Bob...
I didn't listen to any of this while I edited it, so now I have to look through it for stuff for the intro. The sizzle reel.
Essentially an incoherency.
And they're talking about Dungeons and Dragons, so I'm gonna have to like look very closely for stuff that would constitute like a sizzle reel. But there was a suggestion in my notes. I don't think I've gotten to that part yet.
Simulation of a game world that I personally find really diminishes my pleasure. That's something I've talked about a lot, the difference between a simulationist approach to game design versus a narrativist approach or a gamist approach.
It's like, and then the stats and the class and everything kind of comes after that. It feels like that is the way all this is swinging. Whereas in what you're saying, it feels more like old school Dungeons and Dragons. And I think people are really into tabletop. Most kind of wants to go is they want tabletop now pretty much be a video.
I don't know nothing about tabletops. I don't know nothing about Dungeons and Dragons. I've edited multiple podcasts about Dungeons and Dragons, and only thing I can gather about it is that the people who are into it seem to be having fun, but I don't understand what it is.
Okay. That's right.
Like, how does it work? It's a game, but you like make up everything? I don't get it.
Which is a huge mistake in my understanding of TT.
And I hear it's gone woke, so I'm just going to avoid it.
RPG design, because it is very different.
I think it's a huge mistake. I think it's a betrayal. Betrayal of what is the essence of tabletop games and what makes them special.
This will be good for the sizzle.
TTRPG
This will be good for the sizzle.
design, because it is very different.
I think it's a huge mistake. I think it's a betrayal of what is the essence of tabletop games and what makes them special.
I think it's a betrayal. Just out of context. Just plug that in at the beginning during the music. And then people would be like, what's a betrayal? And then they'll watch. They'll watch till they find out. 22. 28. Betrayal. Betrayal. Betrayal.
Very different.
I think it's a huge mistake. I think it's a betrayal of what is the essence of tabletop games and what makes them special. You're never going to be able to compete against
Boom.
video games.
Clipped out of
for
context
what
at the
video games
beginning.
are great at offering, right? Just like you're not going to be able to compete against movies for their ability to offer visual spectacle and THX sound, et cetera, et cetera. So what can tabletop role-playing games compete in? Well, what they can compete in is the player agency to do whatever they want because there's a live game master there to adjudicate the results and extend the rules if need be, and extend the game world as need be as they explore. And so that is how I define the essence of the RPG, and I call it my theory of fun to design for that, the agency theory of fun, where the goal is to maximize the agency of the player. But to maximize the agency of the player means that their decisions have to have meaningful consequences. Otherwise, the choices are fake choices. And then to have meaningful consequences to choice, that means you actually have to
You
have
used to play D&D in the
consequences
80s?
that are meaningful, meaning your character.
Really? So you're like, Stranger Things is your, it's like your era. I was 0 to 5 in the 80s. I just turned 39 the other day. June 25th, 85. Yeah. Yeah, never played it. You know what I played though? And we didn't play that much because it's hard to meet up with people to play it. But Magic the Gathering. I played that in like 4th and 5th grade. I don't know if me and my friends were actually playing it correctly. Pretty sure we were. And I'm pretty sure my decks were not allowed because I would just like stack them up with fireballs that had like the unlimited and mountains, fireballs and mountains. So I just try to take them out in a couple of turns. I don't think you're allowed to do that. But yeah. Like, I didn't know how to strategically put together a deck either. I didn't really understand. I don't think I grasped it. But the art on the cards is really cool. Do you play Magic the Gathering, Terraball?
Perfectly fail.
I don't get into it now because I've heard it's also gone woke. So steer clear of D&D and Magic the Gathering. I think this interview is about a Dungeons and Dragons type game that this guy is coming out with. I've edited a interview with him before and I forget. Oh, so we were like just a couple days apart. I was born a few days after your 10th birthday. Crazy. That's interesting to learn. I've never thought about your age before. I don't think I've actually ever seen you as a person. I've only seen you as avatars. Never played Magic the Gathering. Yeah, it was like I was more into the collecting of the cards. I have like a whole box of them.
Or die, or lose, or be enslaved, or have to have meaningful consequences. Otherwise, the choices are for that, the agency theory of fun, where the goal is to maximize the agency of the player.
23:18. Agency of player. It's weird being old. Man, I'm not super excited about being 39. But I think I'd be feeling another level of that at 49. Which I think 49 is fine on you. I just don't want it. 39. It's just that the years fly by so fast. I have less than one. So every day that just slips by is just like, oh, well, now I'm like only 3/4 away from being 40. 3/4 of a year. That's why I try to always be distracted, because I won't break things down stupidly like that. I need to freshen my drink really quick. Seize the day. Exactly. 1 second.
Hi, this is Tim at the bakery. The cookies that you ordered should be delivered by now. A list of ingredients are included. Make sure that you read them carefully. Hello, it's Mark from Miami Drop-Off. Looks like you missed your delivery last night. Please drop it off at Southwest 107 because our clients will not tolerate further delays. This is Thomas from the Methadone Clinic, where you've scheduled a short meeting for you tonight. We're at Northwest 184th Street, apartment 105. And, don't worry. Your discretion is of the importance to our client. Good evening. This is Blake speaking. We have a job for you. There's a power outage over on 24th Northeast Street. We want you to take care of it. We already sent someone over a while ago, but it seems he didn't do a very good job. Get over there right away. We're expecting you. Keep it quick and clean. Hi, it's Ben from Miami Funeral Parlor. I'm just calling to tell you we have the tombstone order done, ready to be delivered. With a little luck, you should be getting it before the weekend.
Okay, sorry about that. Now that I have quit drinking beer and I'm now mixing vodka with sparkling ice as a healthier alternative, it takes longer to re-up on drinks. Maybe I should just make a picture of that before I start. Then I'd have to commit to the picture. I don't know. Sorry for the delay. Okay. Back to all the exciting stuff I was just doing.
But to maximize the agency of the player means that their decisions have to have meaningful consequences. Otherwise, the choices are fake choices. And then to have meaningful consequences to choice, that means you actually have to have consequences that are meaningful, meaning your character could fail or die. Role-playing game, you have to permit the possibility of the players making choices that lead them to unfun, to mistake, to ruin, to defeat. And it's in accomplishing the opposite of that, in accomplishing the victory of having the triumph in the victory.
That was the last day he spoke truth. Eventually, all men learned to not speak the truth.
That is also true.
Ruin, to defeat. And it's in accomplishing the opposite of that, in accomplishing the victory of having the triumph in the face of that, is where the game takes on so much meaning. It's why people will reminisce about victories they had in a Dungeons and Dragons game 20 years ago, whereas they don't even remember the computer game they played 5 years ago.
Yeah, well said.
That's interesting.
And accomplishing the victory of having the triumph in the face of that is where the game takes on so much meaning. And it's in accomplishing the opposite of that, in accomplishing the victory.
24 minutes. I don't know if I'm gonna use any of this. Why they are fun.
They say like identify this, like you don't really pronounce the T.
Okay.
Having the triumph in the face of that is where the game takes on so much meaning. It's why people will reminisce about victories they had in a Dungeons and Dragons.
A tabletop designer. I'm interested in what led to that process.
I think I remember this.
Well,
It's 7 o'clock in the morning.
2440. Are you using Premiere? I use Vegas and it sucks. Yeah, I'm using Premiere. Yeah, Adobe Premiere 2020. $24.43. Prodigy. Whoa, what is I don't know if I'm familiar with Vegas. I know that they have DaVinci or whatever the fuck it's called. Resolve. God damn it, what's it called? DaVinci Resolve? Yes, it is. That's free. You should use that. What is Vegas, though? I feel like I've heard of it before, but I can't gauge it.
well, I was something of a child prodigy.
It's a Sony product. Oh, Sony Vegas. That's why I know it. Sony Vegas. Sony Vegas, Wikipedia. Vegas Pro, it's called now. It's a professional video editing software. Yeah, I heard it's professional. Like, don't they use it on movies and shit? Package for non-linear editing. The first release of Vegas was '99. Software runs on the Windows operating system. You know, I went to school and like took editing classes. I was doing multimedia stuff even before college. And there was Final Cut. Actually, they were really pushing Final Cut. I don't think they had an Adobe Premiere Pro editing class, which yeah.
Oh my god, they're speaking Russian now. Oh no.
Major broadcasters such as Nightline, several films have used Vegas to cut their features. Okay. How was that for content, guys? Me, like, reading parts of the Wikipedia page for Sony Vegas. Why don't you like it, Terrorball? Have you ever used Premiere? I mean, I've been using Premiere for 20 years.
Role-playing game.
And it's pretty much the same as it always been. There's some new stuff, but most of the stuff that I need, I'm still only editing the way it was 20 years ago.
I started playing when I was 5 years old, and I was game mastering by about age 7.
Yeah, Final Cut was Apple. I think they've kind of just let that die out, though. I never really liked it. I don't like using Apples. I never even I took a editing class where I had to use Final Cut, or maybe it was a documentary class where they only had Final Cut available. That might have been this scenario. I never got used to doing Apple. I'd always get stuck, and I was able to cobble something together, but someone hands me an iPhone, like, oh, could you turn on this song? And I'm like, boop, I exit out. No, I don't know how to use this thing. All the buttons, none of the things are where I need them. Android. PC.
That is yikes, man. It's not even like a lot of people. They had no way to stand.
You might think maybe it would have been wiser to be a child prodigy of chess or concert piano, but we don't choose our child prodiginess, I guess. So I had many years of experience running games, and when you run games, many years of experience running games, and when you run games enough, you tend to start to hack them, which tends to lead, customize them to your taste, which tends to lead into design. And so by the time I was in high school, I was published in Interface magazine for Cyberpunk. I had written some freelance stuff for some other games. And when I went into college, I connected with some guys in the professional war game circuit. I started designing war games. I got into law school on the basis of a really cool war game I had designed. They were very impressed by it. And then I put all of that on the way, because obviously it's a rules void, right? So then I put all of that on the wayside, and for many years,
Far back.
because I was focused on entrepreneurship. Circa 2008, my wife became ill, and I had to be home a lot. But she was asleep in bed, and so I had all this downtime. And she said, honey, why don't you actually, go back to doing game design again? You seem like you really enjoyed it when you were younger, and you're so proud of your games. Why not do them again? And just as she suggested that, the whole crowdfunding movement started. And so it was a confluence of me returning to something that had been a hobby when I was in college, with all of a sudden this new mechanism of being able to fund it by actually saying, like, hey, here's my game, give me money and I'll make it. And so those two events worked out really well. So up until 2017, I just did it part-time, though. It was just an avocation. Then I got my sorry ass canceled, and so at that point, I was like, well, I guess I have to find something else to do with my time, because my career in media is over. So at that point, I became a full-time role-playing game designer.
What did this guy do? I'm having deja vu from the last time. Alex Maxia? Fuck. I don't know his name. Hmm.
And game designer for Dungeons and Dragons. And if you are a fan of TTRPGs, then the last year and a half has been a wild time. Culturescape, the show that interviews the geek creators and influencers who built nerd culture. I'm your host, Pete Pischke, and today we will be talking about tabletop RPGs. This year is, of course, the 50th anniversary of Dungeons and Dragons, and if you are a fan of TTRPGs, then the last year and a half has been a wild time. Wizards of the Coast, the company that is owned by Hasbro and controls D&D, has been caught in scandal after scandal. And boy, there are a lot of them. From rescinding and retroactively trying to gain control of other companies' games through the OGL license.
It's weird. Every time I render a video in Vegas, I have to stop after 20% and re-render. If I don't, the audio gets cut off at the end. I think it's a buffer issue. God. Shit like that is so defeating. When a program's doing shit like that, and then you try to explain that to Google, and then you're trying to figure out, did you explain the... I know I haven't had that problem specifically, but I've had similar ones, and it's maddening. It's like, what do I do? What the fuck do I do to fucking fix this? It's like, why does it keep happening? I can't find any answers on the internet. There's like the answer to everything on the internet except for the one thing. Maybe if I write all those thoughts down, I could turn that into a bit. Or explain it more coherently later. I have like the 4-foot long phone charger cable. I have to wrap it around fucking things or it'll just fall off.
Or the use of AI generate content in their products, or refusing to publish the game in foreign languages, or the pushing of one D&D and exclusive apps, just to name a few. And that doesn't even include things like Hasbro calling in the Pinkertons on you, or my continued annoyance at the injection of modern progressive pandering and removing and retrofitting every aspect of their games that doesn't fit the current political moment. So, it's not all doom and gloom. See, as Hasbro stumbles, independent creators and small companies are stepping up, crafting their own D&D inspired games. Today we're joined by Alexander McCree, creator of the best-selling Adventurer Conqueror Kings system, ACKS or Axe, and Ascendant. Hailed as one of the most comprehensive TSR-inspired games, Axe has earned Alex the title of #1 best-selling game designer from Drive-Thru RPG. With the TTRPG
Damn it, I just missed it.
for Kings system, ACKS or Axe, and Ascendant. AS or Axe and Ascendant. Hailed as one of the most comprehensive TSR-inspired games, Axe has earned Alex the title of #1 best-selling the current political moment. So, it's not all doom and gloom. See, as Hasbro stumbles, independent creators and small companies are stepping up, crafting their own D&D inspired games. Today we're joined by Alexander McCree, creator
Alexander McCree.
And not get fired. She's keeping it real.
God damn it. I know how to figure this out. I can go to the playlist on my YouTube channel and I can find the... Wow. I've done 40 this is my 41st episode of this show that I am editing. That's crazy. His name... Oh. God damn it. Escapist Alexander
Yeah, what do you mean?
Macris McCree's? That's how it's pronounced?
I don't know why, but to me, I genuinely
Like, he must get great signal.
Yeah, but routers serve a purpose. This is just like how many people can we fucking annoy? How many cops can we learn their presence?
Oh wow, on Reddit I see a thing that his creations, his company will no longer be permitted. You cannot discuss it on this Reddit.
Going the right way.
Subreddit rule changes, blacklisted creators. Oh, it's r/RPG? What the fuck?
Like it's really funny, but you want to say something?
You can't talk about games because at the
Stop! I'm just really hungry right now.
Is this real?
No.
This is animated. Yeah, I was just like, what the yeah, everything's getting like so scarily real these days.
Holy shit.
Oh, that's cool.
That's terrifying.
several threads being locked due to. All right, so we're starting arguments.
Oh my god!
God, this is bad content.
He straight got overheaded.
Why did he check his racket first?
Tennis players would never do something like this. Goddamn pickleball players did, I swear to God.
Oh,
Want to end this?
Yeah, this feels like a murder attempt. Like, I don't know how. Like, if you're playing doubles, like.
oh, I think that he did something with Milo Yiannopoulos, and they connect him to. No. I think this guy's lying. Okay, so he got accused of being pro Gamergate. That's what happened. Oh yeah, because he wrote for The Escapist. I think he founded The Escapist magazine. Okay, this is all coming back to me. He founded The Escapist magazine. He was semi-pro Gamergate, and the problem, and then that was it.
More frustrating for him because, like, he literally sees the fish, like, right there. The water's that shallow. He's like, why aren't you fighting? Do an extra amount.
Today we're joined by Alexander McCree.
And people on Reddit calling people alt-right, that's like,
Some Flintstone tires.
doesn't mean anything.
The creator of the best-selling Adventurer Conqueror
Nobody knows what that term actually means.
system, ACKS or
I've
Axe,
never
and
seen it used
Ascendant.
correctly.
Hailed as one of the most comprehensive TSR-inspired games.
All right, now let's get chopping.
Always good things happen. All choice.
At the moment,
You're saying the
bro
sort of
energy,
bro energy, yeah.
just a couple of dudes, you know.
Yeah. So I think you can have both. It's harder.
Milo
today.
Yiannopoulos is back on Twitter. I wonder if I have a playlist on the YouTube channel at the bottom of the front page of Milo Yiannopoulos live in Chicago. I went to an event at DePaul College, and I filmed all the craziness that happened. It made international news because BLM activists like crashed it, and the event didn't even go off, and it ended up spilling out into the streets. Hundreds of people in the streets. It was pretty crazy. The videos are good. Alt-right is like people who want to create like a white Wakanda, like a ethno-state. So it's a very specific thing. But that term has been getting tossed around now for 10 years, and maybe like 99.9% of the time it's used incorrectly.
Than it used to be. But like, my old gaming groups, it
lost all meaning almost right away. Because I don't even think.
Bro, don't even?
Yeah. It was Fringe, but I think that the name was catchy. And that I think the name took off more than because there's no political figure. I don't know of any that identify as that in current year. Even the more controversial ones, like, was that fucking guy Nick Fuentes? I don't think he calls himself alt-right. I don't know though. I don't watch his content, wherever that might be. Yeah, it's very small, very, very small, very fringe. Small
You know,
section of people. It's apparently everybody.
Brian, whose dad is a
It's used interchangeably with far right or alt right, far right. It's just something that
I think she said it with a hard G.
super far lefties call everyone that doesn't agree with them. They just call him far right. Like they called like J.K. Rowling. They call her far right. She is not right of anything.
bus driver.
She's
and
very
he has,
left.
you know,
Very left. Just people being childish. They can't deal with people disagreeing with them, so they'll just go straight to
71 Chevy that he and his dad built in the garage, and they like to go hunting and shooting on the weekend. You know, playing right alongside, you know, Jessica, who was a college girl who was like a Wiccan, really into candles and theater, and more,
What I'm always afraid of with bus driving.
like the bro energy is like, dude, why did you get us all killed? And it's the same as like, dude, why did you drop the ball? Like, what? Where was your head, man? It has to, like, for instance, if I do something utterly stupid and get everyone killed,
30-30.
Stop cutting your pizza like that.
What if someone's watching this? They're like, oh, damn, man.
Get everyone killed.
No wonder I always hate ordering pizza, and it's always because of the struggle.
This would be a really good ad if your pizza didn't look like that bad. That's a good point because of the lane changes, right? That's pretty Rip Reno's. Thank God you cut the video. Otherwise,
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Works every time.
Okay.
like the bro energy is like, dude, why did you get us all killed? And it's the same as like, dude, why did you drop the ball? Like, what? Where was your head, man? And that's, you know, you get that. And so there has to be a little bit of a masculine testosterone-driven sort of seeking out the heroism and wanting the challenge. And I think instead of that, nowadays what we get is what I call affirmational gameplay, affirmational storytelling, rather than aspirational and competitive. So affirmational being, you're okay just how you are, and everything you do is great, right? And so
That's a good quote.
and wanting the challenge. And I think instead of that, now, where was your head, man? And that's, you know, you get that. And so there has to be a little bit of a masculine testosterone driven. And so there has to be a little bit of a masculine testosterone driven sort of. Why did you get us all killed? And it's the same as like, dude, why did you drop the ball? Like, what? Where was your head, man? And that's, you know, you get that. And so there has to be a little bit of a masculine testosterone driven.
Well, thanks for chilling, Terrorball. It was nice talking with you. Hope to see you soon. Oh shit, someone's chatting to me on Kick. I didn't know. What's good, J Pinda 1715? Follow X follow. Oh yeah, I'll follow you right now. Follow. I am now following you. J Pinda 1715. I appreciate it. That works for me. Starting off on a new platform is hard. Pretty discouraging. I mean, on Odyssey and Rumble, somehow I have like 14 subs on Rumble, which I'm actually surprised that anyone's finding any of my shit on there. Which isn't syncing anymore, actually. But but yeah, in Odyssey I have like 10 followers or something. Twitch, I had a good like first few months, shot up to like 130 and just stalled out.
We scare the hell out of them and tape it for the world to see. It's a good system.
It took me like 3 years to get. I just hit 200 last night. After I got raided by over 200 people showed up in my watching the show, and I got 3 subs out of it, or 3 follows, not subs, and 0 subs. Subs are worth money.
Sort of drop the ball. Like, what? Where was your head, man? And that's, you know, you get that. And so there has to be a little bit of a masculine testosterone driven.
We're not supposed to go in the back, but let's just go back there and get him.
Get this guy inside. Come on, quickly. Before the cops come.
Is that money?
Yeah.
See, this is why they tell me not to come back here, I'm sure. It's like $40,000 worth of money.
Oh, wow. There's a couple more of those in. Guys, what are you, stupid? Yeah, I asked you 6 weeks ago. Are you gonna have it? 6 weeks I'm waiting for my money. 6 weeks I'm waiting for you. You went to the bathroom. I need my money tonight. I don't have it on me. Tonight. Make a call. Do what you gotta do. I want my money. You understand me? Here, let him again. Just search me. You're a degenerate. That's what you are.
Been sort of seeking out the heroism and wanting the challenge. And I think instead of that, nowadays what we get is what I call affirmational gameplay, affirmational storytelling, rather than aspirational and competitive. So affirmational being, you're okay just how you are and everything you do is great,
I'm gonna go to the car and get my piece. Look
right?
around.
And so in an affirmational game, in an affirmational story, you never lose, right? It's always good things happen. All choices are good choices. And there's a lot of that nowadays. It's not my jam.
Not really mine either. I mean, I guess there can be a little bit to some extent.
Hey, stay right there. Sit down. Somebody's out here.
Everything you do is great, right? And so in an affirmational game, in an affirmational story,
Back 16,000 times. Hey, don't you move, you babe. Hey, come on, you gotta get me out of here, man. Those crazy bastards will kill us all. Hey, you can't leave me like that. Come back here. Get me out of here. Come here. What the is going on here? Get on your knees. You brought him here. I swear to God, I don't know. I want you to chop his fingers off. And who the are you, Daisy?
I came here for temp work. I don't know. Someone brought me here and they said I was helping pack up computers. I don't know. I've been here for like 10 minutes. I don't know what's going on.
Why are you helping these bags get out of here? Why? Why?
My friend brought me here. He went to get cigarettes or something. I don't know.
Is he a cop?
A cop? No. I'm a kid, dude.
You just saw me beat this guy up.
I didn't see anything.
You didn't see anything.
I didn't see anything.
It's a good answer. But not good enough.
I see it. No,
Not good enough. I'm gonna give you 30 seconds to talk your way out of it. Go.
I'm a 19-year-old kid. I work at Starbucks. I live on the other side of town. I don't do anything here. I don't know what's going on. My
How
friend.
do you know these guys? scared?
I'm very scared.
You should be.
Why?
Because you're on scare tactics.
I didn't know Joey Coco Diaz was ever on that show, Scare Tactics.
Or you never,
No.
never lose, right? It's always good things happen. All choices are good choices. And there's a lot of that nowadays. It's not my jam.
Not really mine either. I mean, I guess there can be a little bit to some extent, but it's part of the thing about gaming. This is true of video games as of anything. You have to have that risk involvement, and
Right.
it feels like if everything you do is right and you're automatically super special, and so the world is going to conform to what you want it to be, you lose some of that engagement. You lose, and this is a bad word to describe this, but I'm going to say realism, or that connection that you feel to the situation you're in. Where I feel like they have a different way they do it, and they have a different way you invest into it. Not just gameplay-wise, but financially.
Primarily because of the community moderators in their Discord server. They have made several really questionable moves that have pushed consumers away. And then, of course, we have Sony pulling the BS with them, requiring PlayStation
To
Network
it.
accounts to be
Not
linked
just
in order to
gameplay-wise, but
play
financially.
on a PC.
Yeah.
But now we are hearing about this
Gameplay-wise, but
alleged,
financially.
take it with a grain of salt, moderator handbook that
Yeah,
talks
absolutely,
about the
absolutely.
things they should and
Yeah,
shouldn't
I mean,
allow
I
in
think
this
they're going to
server,
find.
because the
I
most
think they're
thing
going to
that
find the
players
model
and
they're
fans
adopting
think
is
should
going to be a market.
banned on site for saying things like you don't want identity politics in games. I have a few different things to show off, but before we get into the topic, if you enjoy the content
Right.
I create,
Whereas
Yeah,
anybody with a decent IQ can learn to play, a game where, all right, well, I move forward 10 feet and attack the orc with my sword. So I think they were going to fail.
Really died down. The player numbers have gone down quite a bit, which isn't very shocking. Games come out, they have big rushes, and then of course player numbers dwindle until they put out DLC or just new content in general. But it does not seem
It's just
like
they have a different way they do it, and they have a different way you invest into it. Not just gameplay-wise, but financially.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to find. I think they're going to find that the model they're adopting is going to be a market failure. A lot of people have tried to create mainstream role-playing games that are narrative focused that are going to appeal, to a mass audience, and they simply don't, because the
Oh, fuck. I dipped my fucking headphone into my drink.
from them banning people and timing people out and trying to silence certain conversations. Yes, of course, alleged handbook is not confirmed. It says though the site for Colorado handbook seems overall well-written, sensible.
Hi, this is Tim at the bakery. The cookies that you ordered should be delivered by now. The list of ingredients are included. Make sure that you read them carefully. Hello, it's Mom. Hopefully I'm Grandpa. Looks like you missed your delivery last night. Please drop it off at Southwest 107th Place. Our clients will not tolerate further delays. This is Thomas from the Methadone Clinic. We've scheduled a short meeting for you tonight. We're at Northwest 184th Street, Department 105. And, don't worry. Your discretion is of the importance to a clinic. Good evening. This is Blake speaking. We have a job for you. There's a power outage over on 24th Northeast Street. We want you to take care of it. We already sent someone over a while ago, but it seems he didn't do a very good job. Head over there right away. Don't expect anything. Keep it quick and clean. Hi, it's Ben from Miami Funeral Parlor. I'm just calling to tell you we have the tombstone you ordered done and ready to be delivered. With a little luck, you should be getting it before the weekend.
There are a lot of people who enjoy being passive consumers of story, but the number of people who have the verbal intelligence, the glibness, the self-confidence, the creativity, and frankly the desire to dynamically narrate stories is very low. It's very small. And if you've ever played some of these narrative-driven games with average people, like it's really awkward and slow-moving and kind of an unpleasant experience, and you're like, I don't know, and it never really meets the expectation that you would get if you watch 6 professional improv actors do it, right? Whereas anybody with a decent IQ can learn to play, a game where, all right, well, I move forward 10 feet and attack the orc with my sword. Doesn't require that you be a great actor. You don't need to entertain other people with your storytelling prowess. You're just playing a game. So I think they were going to fail.
I have two thoughts on that, and I'll save the second thumb for a little bit. It is a different.
Not going to always agree, but if you disagreed with this moderator, your account could have gotten banned, and those people
I have two.
are unbanned. Those people are still banned to this day, and of course, again, it didn't happen very long ago, but this was their statement. Hello, everyone. Gender identity is not politics. It's literally someone's identity. Here in the HD2 server, we have a zero-tolerance policy on any sort of bigotry or hate.
That, and I'll save the second thumb for a little bit.
This month is not one that's not allowed. What isn't allowed is all the negativity towards people trying to celebrate who they are. People, again, are allowed to react to a piece of artwork if they want. It's not like people were messaging moderators saying, hey, you need to ban this piece of artwork because it is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. We're talking about people putting something as simple as an emote onto the artwork. That's it, clear as day. Nobody should have gotten banned for that, but they did. And of course, keep in mind, Helldivers 2 has not had the, smoothest of rides when it's come to gaming, because Sony had actually created a whirlwind surrounding this game months ago because of the PlayStation Network account linking.
It is a different kind of investment. I do think, though, this is kind of why it was able to grab maybe a more female demographic. I remember in 2018, for a little bit. It is a different kind of investment. I do think, though, this is kind of why it was able to grab maybe a more female demographic. I remember in 2018, 2017, I attended like a church young adult. I'm using young adult loosely because these are people from age 30 to 18. And it was the first time I'd seen someone at church besides, another geek that had, had expressed an interest or enjoyment in Dungeons & Dragons. And I was a little confused because I hadn't totally an interest or enjoyment in Dungeons & Dragons. And I was a little confused because I hadn't totally caught up to everything that was going with 5e at that point. And I hadn't really seen it before. So I'm not going to say there are no advantages to that strategy, but I don't know if it has any long-term hook, because then it's just one thing of many, and this is like, it's like that's how fads are. This is just, I'm into this, now I'm into this, now I'm into that, now I'm into that thing over there, and it doesn't really circle back around. The other thing is, I think that they've become so driven on these player stories and these narratives that they want to shift to going to AI dungeon masters, which is what I've heard with 1D&D, is they're looking into basically getting AI to do Dungeons & Dragons as the dungeon master, but to do that they'll have their stories and these narratives that they want to shift to going to AI dungeon masters.
And I've been covering in depth on this channel the collapse of
Which is what I've heard with 1D&D.
Class restaurants, right? Like these are restaurants that are, Applebee's, TGI Fridays.
Player stories and these narratives that they want to shift to going to AI dungeon masters, which is what I've heard with 1D&D, is they're looking into basically getting AI to into
with the tough combination of both inflation and
getting
$20 minimum wage. Well, now
these player stories and these narratives that they want to shift to going to AI dungeon masters, which is what I've heard with 1D&D is they're looking into basically getting AI to do Dungeons and Dragons as the dungeon master, but to do that they'll have to dumb a whole bunch of rules down. I don't see how those two things work. It feels like if you're going to make it so much more narrative than trying to use AI to counterbalance that isn't going to work.
Websites, apps are getting shut down in certain countries, all sorts of craziness. Well, a VPN helps you never have to worry about that. Private internet access also protects you from the prying eyes of hackers, internet service providers.
Oh, what the fuck did I just do?
Personal data. Perhaps also just as importantly, private internet access allows you to access region-restricted content from all over the world. Streaming services like Netflix, Amazon Prime, and more have different library options based on where you're located.
What the fuck did I do?
Cannot be accessed if you're not in the target location. Happens to me all the time. Many sports events also have regional blackouts. Well, VPNs can be a convenient way to make sure you're getting the
If you're going to make it so much.
Private internet access also allows you to protect an unlimited amount of devices at
Oh.
the same time, so your entire house.
How did I do that?
Subscription. And I've been working with private internet access so long that I have been.
How did I undock it?
Discount available to my viewers. Link in the description below. Get private internet access today using my link. Save huge, protect your computers, access all the content that you've been paying for, and ensure that your internet is never censored. If you don't have VPN yet, make sure you get PIA. It's the one I use on my phone, laptop, and computers. It's the one I recommend to families and friends. Now, Hooters, known for its waitresses' spicy dress, is the latest restaurant chain to abruptly shutter locations. Like other struggling chains such as Red Lobster, Hooters is now blaming the rising cost of rent and food. A raft of closures happened over the weekend, while others were in recent weeks. They include locations in Florida, Kentucky, Rhode Island, Texas, and Virginia. The company is not thought to be in as dire financial situation as Red Lobster, which has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. In fact, the bosses said the 41-year-old brand remains highly
God damn it.
relevant and highlighted a new range of
I undocked a panel Premiere Pro. How do I put it back?
supermarkets across America. I mean, I don't know. I think I've eaten there like once or twice. For me, I always felt kind of skeevy being in there, but like, I feel like I'm just passing.
How to dock a panel in Premiere Pro 2023. So let's say you are playing around in Premiere Pro and you accidentally did something like undocking this panel. So let's undock this panel. Now, if this panel is undocked and you want to dock it, it's really simple. You have to just close it like this, then go up here, go over to Window, Workspaces, and now slide down until you see Reset to Saved Layout. Click on that, and as you can see, this layout will reset, so it doesn't really matter what you do, how much you undock it and reorganize your Premiere Pro workspace. You can always reset to the saved layout. So let's say I will move this one down here and move this one, for example, down here.
God damn it.
And let's say this one down here. Now it's really just a mix.
Oh,
Let's say
I know what to do.
Using this, you can simply go over to Window, Workspaces, Reset to Save,
There we go.
and you are back in your classic Premiere Pro. So you can always just reset it. Thank you
I
for
thought
watching.
that this guy just fucked me, but no, we're good.
And like this video.
I thought this guy just fucked me over with bad information, I should say.
See you next time. Bye.
No guy fucked me. That's the end? What the fuck?
You know, I said I wasn't going to do this, and I really didn't want to, but enough people are asking, so it's time we talk about one of the worst super MCs I've ever seen. Hi, y'all. Snarky J. Constern here. All week, we have been getting set photos from James Gunn's new Superman film starring David Corn Sweat as the
much more narrative than trying to use AI to counter.
Photo of David in his Superman suit, and I made a video talking about that. And in that video, I was actually
Use AI to counterbalance that isn't going to work.
for once. I assumed a lot of the flaws and complaints I had about the suit were just the position that the guy was sitting in. And now that we've seen all these behind-the-scenes photos, it seems like the suit just happens to be a disaster, which bodes so well for the rest of the movie. And I've been asked to give my thoughts on this suit by so many people at this point already that I figure let's talk about James Gunn's Superman suit. It's already a given that this suit is very much inspired by both the New 52 suit and the Kingdom Come suit. The Kingdom Come aspect is obvious in the shape of the S or smoke symbol on his chest and the trunks, and the New 52 inspiration is quite obvious in the way the cape sits and the shape of that collar. It's not typical for Superman to have that collar, and that
They
is very much
deeply misunderstand the audience.
I had 3 or 4 major complaints when it came to this suit, and it was just that picture of him sitting down. So I didn't double down on my complaints because, well, I hadn't quite seen the suit in action. One of the first things that I said about the suit was I didn't like the fit at all. Well,
More narrative than trying to use AI to counterbalance that isn't going to work.
I gave it the benefit
No,
of
it's
the
not
doubt
going to work.
and assumed
It's
that
not
when
going to
he
work.
stood up, it
And
would look a lot
it's
better because David Sweat has very much been putting in time at the gym, as
so
evidenced by
they
this.
are facing the same problem the video game industry is facing, which is that they're
From these photos, I think he looks like a little boy in Superman pajamas. If you take a look at these
they're
pictures,
the beliefs under which, in my opinion, the beliefs under which they are functioning are incorrect, right? So they have a raw belief that at the end of the day, you can make a product that can appeal to men and women equally, and therefore make it accessible to everybody. And I do not agree. I think that is actually quite untrue. I think that, and therefore make it accessible to everybody. And I do not agree. I think that is actually quite untrue. I think that equally, and therefore make it accessible to everybody. And I do not agree. I think that is the beliefs under which, in my opinion, the beliefs under which they are functioning are incorrect, right? So they have a raw belief that at the end of the day, you can make a product that can appeal to men and women equally.
Of Henry Cavill in Zack Snyder's DC movies, and I don't even like Zack Snyder, so don't
So
come at me like
they are facing the same problem the video game industry is facing, which is that they're the beliefs under which, in my opinion, the beliefs.
That isn't going to work.
No, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. And it's so they are facing the same problem the video game industry is facing, which is that they're
I'm pretty sure if you watched anything I've ever said at any point, you probably know exactly what I'm going to nitpick here. And it's not the glasses, the thick glasses, perfect Clark Kent. I think David Corenswet has the looks to play Superman because he looks like dollar store Henry Cavill, so that works out. It's not the oversized or ill-fitting suit. That's very Clark Kent. I have no problem with that. My problem is that they gave him the 2023 broccoli TikTok reject haircut. What is that? He looks like everybody I swiped left on Bumble. Metropolis is busting, guys. For real. Like, no f***ing cap, it's busting. Look at these cartons. These are real cartons. They all have similar designs. And then we have this. Is it, I mean, okay, maybe it gets explained
So
in the movie, right? Maybe
they are
James
facing the same problem the video game industry is facing, which is that they're
I don't think he's trying to trick us, dog. I think this
they're
is I genuinely don't have anything nice to say about this Superman design at all anymore. I mean, if you watch my other video on it, I was actually
Very,
still
very
talking
controversial
about it.
thing to say. I mean, it didn't used to be. I think people understood that the taste of men and women, you know, there are guys that like more female-driven stuff, obviously, or women that like more male-driven stuff. But generally, you know, if you put on a graph women are going to lean more towards liking certain things in a certain way versus men will like doing it another way. And you could see this even on like social media. Go to Twitter. Women are more likely, in my experience, they'll talk a lot about shipping. They'll talk more about the relationship aspects of the game. Where I think with guys, I more often see posts where they're like, which character is more powerful? Or who would win in a fight against Goku?
Yeah, no, exactly.
For more Snarky Day, tune in on Twitch every Tuesday and Thursday from 6 to 8 p.m. EST.
Against
You can also
Goku.
check out my Instagram.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Goku always shows up.
exactly.
Me, this channel, and my content
Who would fight
creation.
against
Do
Goku?
check out and consider subscribing to my Patreon for exclusive photo shoot sets and content. I will add links to all of these in the description below. And let me know your thoughts on James Gunn's new Superman.
Or something like that, right? Then you have four expert in 14th century Flemish warfare or something like that.
Anyway, I had an interesting encounter recently. I was out running some errands and a young guy approached me trying to get my number. I told
Something
him
like
he
that,
was too young
right?
for me
Then
because
you have
I'm 30. And then he says, "That's okay. I love hags." It was a funny enough encounter that I posted about it on Twitter and got a bunch of replies, which introduced me to the term hag maxing. I had never heard that before, so I
And that's
immersed
it, right?
myself in
And then the
research,
female version of
looking for answers to this mystery. What I uncovered was surprising. On May 21st, 2024,
right?
Twitter user iHypocrite posted this Vice News article titled, "Meet the Hag Maxers, Gen Z's new social trend of dating older women." This amassed millions of views.
Holy shit, I Hypocrite got mentioned in a Susu video.
On social media. Gen Z Meet the Hag Maxers, Gen Z's new
I have to tell him. That's my boy, LP. What the fuck? Why does it keep doing that?
Rumble went down entirely. So good job on that. I can't really do anything about it. So we're here on YouTube.
All right, so first order of business, Paul. I think you owe us some money because
Hi, business casual Susu here, showing off my age-appropriate attire. The gratuitous cleaves for extra YouTube engagement. If this video doesn't get 1 million views, I'm getting a price reduction. Anyway, interesting encounter recently. I was out running some errands and a young guy approached me trying to get my number. I told him he was too young for me because I'm 30. And then he says, "That's okay. I love hags." Hags. Whatever. It was a funny enough encounter that I posted about it on Twitter and got a bunch of replies, which introduced me to the term hag maxing. I had never heard that before, so I immersed myself in research, looking for answers to this mystery. What I uncovered was surprising. On May 21st, 2024, Twitter user iHypocrite posted this Vice News article titled, "Meet the Hag Maxers, Gen Z's new social trend of dating older women." This amassed millions of views. The article description reads, "A very strange phenomenon is making its rounds on social media. Gen Z men are ditching casual sex with their women to pursue long-term relationships with financially stable millennial ladies." Even though it sounds like a believable Vice article, it turns out it was fake. The supposed screenshot is actually an edited image taken from 4chan, and no actual Vice article like this exists. The article being fake made some people claim it was a psyop by us old millennial women, because no one actually wants us now that we have hit the wall. My DMs paint a different story though. That's why I closed them. Too many boys in my yard. The milk is spoiled, but they still want it. Oh well. Hag aunties will continue to live under the delusion that a barely legal virgin trad wife is just waiting for them. They'll spend their time posting about Taylor Swift's ovaries running out of eggs while waiting for their mommies to bring home chicken nuggies as they stew in their own filth for days on end. And you know what? I don't even don't blame them for that because I've seen so many TikToks of Zoomers in actual tears because they can't afford anything. No time for hobbies, self-care, not enough income for a house or children, just work, work, work to barely get by. Work, 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 work. Sorry. I wouldn't be surprised if some of these guys realized the cost of living has become insane, thus making fertile stay-at-home trad wives unaffordable for the average American male. Now, instead of dreaming about having 8 kids and a big house with a wife from home, they dream of a hag with enough money to rescue them from a life of wage cuck suffering. Sometimes one dream dies and another is born. The evolution of language is particularly interesting because when I hear the word hag, I envision an old witch with pendulum titties that lives in a swamp and eats children. Goals. But usually being called hag is meant as an insult. However, Twitter
Okay, I told LP. He's in a new Susu JPEG video. He probably doesn't like her because she's like a sexy content creator.
Plus, seeing all the anime waifu memes shared in my replies and quote tweets gave me a better idea of where to go looking for more information. And speaking of anime waifus,
And then the female version of this book starts
perfect for you. Greetings, humans. Is your life devoid of waifus?
significant other, and that's it,
Omniverse
right?
is here to fulfill
And then the
your
female
anime
version of this
longing.
book starts
Embark
off,
on an epic
and you're in
journey with this
close,
heroic fantasy casual
right?
strategy RPG.
And then the female
And
version of
this
this book
here
starts
anime
off,
Omniverse has
and
received
then the female version
recommendations
of
from both Google Play and the App
and then the
Store.
female
Play as an Omni Guardian and rescue the captive Valkyries from demons.
at his
so that you
significant
can team
other,
up
and that's it,
fight
right?
against the evil
And then the
threat
female
of the
version of
world.
this book
Escape
starts
into a
off,
new world where you
and
can forget about the impending doom of your own mortality.
hero,
While you summon legendary heroes, unlock multiple
and the hero,
secrets,
and then the final
and
and the
match
final
numbers of
chapter,
game prompts at will. Valkyrie Manor,
and
where
the
you
hero,
can interact with your collection of willing waifus and embrace the superiority of artificial women who aren't mean and scary like real girls. As an AI,
log,
you
two
can
of which are
trust
sex
that
between the
AI
significant
will
other
answer
and the hero, and then the final chapter.
Join the mysterious adventure of season 4 with a special event called the
Yeah.
Glorious Return. Season 4 kicks off on June 28th, so mark your calendars and get ready for an incredible experience with a new storyline, new relics, roguelike dungeon gameplay, and an updated GVG mode. Claim 99
That saves
XP,
everything.
free
Like, they're
pulse,
totally different.
and
It's
join
not
the
the same genre.
mysterious Eastern
And yeah.
adventures of season 4. Download Omni Heroes now. Thank you so much to our sponsor, and use my link in the description.
Go
to play
read some of
Omni
those
Heroes
books and come back and
today.
talk to me.
Anyway, my journey for knowledge led me into weeb territory. On December 8th, 2015, Tumblr user Witchlord Karen posted a meme of Rinko Iori, age 34, from the anime Gundam Build Fighters with the caption,
Back and talk to
"We
me."
like older women." Over the years,
The
this
amount-
spread
Not Conan.
and variants were made
Yeah,
featuring
yeah.
different anime.
No,
On
definitely.
May 29th, 2024, Twitter user and VTuber simp Virus posted a variant of this meme using 4 VTubers, Matara, Genshin looking bitch,
They
Nika
are
looking
not
bitch,
Conan.
and Usada Pekora, yay, I love her. This meme gained 19k likes, showing how widely accepted
I highly
the
recommend
anime
anyone who
is
disagrees with me,
which leads me to a
go
popular
read some of
VTuber
those
meme,
books and come back and talk to me.
Age of 30 is in demand. Also,
They
sorry
are
to
not
those two
Conan.
VTubers, I didn't
Yeah.
know their names,
No,
so I tried to
definitely.
make fun of
I
you.
think
I don't know a
it's
lot
so
about VTubers,
fascinating,
I'm
especially
sorry.
too when you look at like the
I'm too old
proportion
to
of
know, so
literature
please
that's
forgive me.
catered to
UAV
female
age 30
readers,
is
and
an
amount of
event
it that's
phrase
just
gained popularity
basically
about a year
adult,
ago when
adult
Hololive
fiction,
VTuber
but not adult in
Ocean
like
Marie
mature
appeared
things.
on the newly friend game alongside Hapus Fails.
Adult
They
fiction, but not
discussed
adult in like
one important thing they learned from being in Hololive.
まあでもこれかな。はい、OK です。OK。
readers, and amount of it that's just basically adult, adult fiction, but not.
30歳は需要があるということですね。これ最近気づいたんですけど、箱太郎30歳になりたいですか？なりたくないですか？30歳はすごい。いや僕まだ12歳なんで、すごいっす。遠いけど、なりたい？なりたくない？I wanna be 30? なりたくないかな？なりたくないでしょ？船長もなりたくなかった30歳に。
Not adult in like mature things. I mean, in like
No, like
you know,
sex.
Yeah, and a sex
なんか
things. I mean,
ワインが30歳だと思ってる人がいるのね。おお、OK。30歳って言われて、船長は今までそれに反対してきたのね。はい。違いますみたいな。でも んですけど、いやむしろマリー船長が30歳ってめちゃくちゃいいけどなみたいなコメントを見るんです。30歳むしろ逆にいいみたいな。I see I see。だから要するにもう全然今までは船長も30歳になり
No, like sex. Yeah, and
いやなってやろうじゃないのって思えるようになりました。
I actually questioned my VTuber friend Lena Lazar about this, and she told me in the
Fiction, but not on like mature things. I mean, in like
no, like
you know,
sex.
Yeah, NSFW.
Yeah, it's there's
ages in VTubing, and everyone is a lot more
like
positive
mature
about it.
things. I mean,
This was odd to me because
basically
no one has
adult,
ever really said
you know,
anything
adult
bad
fiction, but not
about
on like
my
mature
age
things. I mean, in like
no, like
you know,
sex.
Yeah, NSFW.
Yeah.
I guess the waifu world is a bit different, and anime girls age in dog years. It's fascinating
That,
how the
you know.
VTuber and anime community seems to
That,
have
you
evolved
know.
from as young as possible without catching the case to older women. Perhaps this is because many weebs themselves are millennial age and
Can we skip ahead to the battle?
releasing their hag waifus. Perhaps many of the younger weebs long for a mommy in their lives because theirs doesn't hug them enough, or they have the dead anime mom, but
adult, you know, adult fiction, but not on like mature things. I mean, in like
No, like
you know,
sex.
Yeah, NSFW.
Yeah, it's there's so much sex going on all the time. Yeah, I actually got uncomfortable reading some of it. It was like, oh my god, but
this is a suffix taken from the gaming phrase
Adult fiction, but not on like mature things. I mean, in like
no, like
you know,
sex.
Yeah, NSFW.
Yeah, it's there's so much sex going on all the time. Yeah, I actually got uncomfortable reading some of it. It was like,
there seems to be two uses. The one we just discussed, where it means
an amount of it that's just basically adult, you know, adult fiction, but not on like mature things. I mean, in like
no, like
you know,
sex.
Yeah,
on September 12th, 2021 on
adult fiction, but not.
keyboard, in which a user writes, I don't care about looking old, I'm hag maxing. I've seen a couple of people report on this and refer to the poster as he because there's no girls on 4chan, right? Tits or GTFO. But as a woman, I can sniff out a feminine with ease. It seems as though the phrase started out used by women to
Not on like mature things. I mean, in like
no, like
you know,
sex.
Yeah, NSFW.
Yeah, it's there's so much sex going on all the time. Yeah, I actually
All right, that's going in the sizzle reel.
actually got uncomfortable reading some of it. It was like, oh my god, but you know, can we skip ahead to the battle?
It is a funny dynamic too because you know, there's the modesty angle because like one of the contention.
That usage is not as popular as the I want an older girlfriend variant. Maybe this trend will die off and the OG Swamp Witch hag maxers can take over once again. You know,
The character's back, but it's obviously like a guy. I'm
And they
trying
made
to
it a
think.
girl.
Yeah, and then the
sparked a ton of online discourse with
I'm
so
trying
made
to
it a
think.
girl.
vehemently defending the older woman, younger man dynamic.
Back, but it's obviously like a
There's
guy.
several answers to this question, so I'll go over a few of my theories. The first is that the media has shown younger women and older men
Classical
couples
image, you only see
so
the
much
character's
that the
back, but it's
opposite
obviously like a
becomes
guy.
exciting. Another is that in the quest for equality, women continue to engage in similar dating activities as their male counterparts. If men are encouraged to date younger,
And they made it a
then
girl.
so
Yeah.
can women. There's also some reverse psychology at play here. I will demonstrate. Hello, men. Your purpose as a man is to fuck and impregnate everything. Why haven't you fucked the new Cheez-It Crunchwrap Supreme from Taco Bell? You only have a limited
Classical image, you only
amount of
see
time
the
before it
character's
hits the
back, but
wall.
it's obviously
So
like a
hurry up.
guy.
I better
And they
not
made it a
catch you
girl.
looking
Yeah.
at
Yeah,
step-moms
and
or
then the
middle
artist
schoolers or
Lattimore.
genius or,
I'm gonna see
God
Eddie or
forbid,
Eddie.
Larry
your own
Elmore.
age.
Larry
That
Elmore.
hot, fresh
Eddie or
Cheez-It
Ed.
Crunchwrap is waiting. See, no one likes being told what to do. All the anti-older women
Larry
say
Elmore.
basically
Larry
leads
Larry
down
Elmore.
the
Thank you.
hag
Thank you.
pipeline. Now I got all these zoomers in my swamp.
Larry
A
Elmore.
lot of this
Larry.
pro-MILF, cougar, hag sentiment all seems to
Larry
center on
Elmore.
the same cause, and that is what some people refer to as ageism against women perpetuated by the media and
Character's back, but it's obviously like a guy.
back in 2015,
And they made it a girl.
Maggie
Yeah.
Gyllenhaal
Yeah,
revealed she was
and then the
turning down
artist
sexual interest in a
Lattimore.
55-year-old actor in a movie on the basis that she was too old. She was 37 at the time. This sparked huge outrage online about how the average age of actresses
It's obviously
for
like a
love
guy.
in a movie was
And they made it
usually
a girl.
way younger
Yeah.
than
Yeah, and then the artist Lattimore. I'm gonna see
Mhm.
Eddie or Eddie.
Larry Elmore.
Larry Elmore. Thank you.
While his wife
He does like Conan art basically. He does like
Yep.
gals in like steel bikinis and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
kind of
totally.
leather
Yep.
headdress and
Anyway, but
that
Yep.
kind of thing.
also going after women far younger than them has been the subject of much controversy and
And
scrutiny.
Yeah,
then
yeah,
kind of
totally.
leather
Yep.
headdress
Still
and
Leonardo DiCaprio memes being a prime example. Or how about the outrage over 79-year-old Robert De Niro having a baby with his 45-year-old wife, which was totally blown the fuck out by 83-year-old Al Pacino having a kid with his 29-year-old girlfriend. Go bigger, go home. Both
like
these situations are actually kind of
gals
sad
in
for
like
the kid,
steel
though,
bikinis and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
kind of
totally.
leather
Yep.
headdress.
What the fuck?
got a little morbid there, but
And
Yeah,
then
yeah,
kind of
totally.
leather
Yep.
headdress and
also
that
Yep.
kind of thing, and then it's like that's that.
shaming women for their age all the time, preaching that younger is better, and the reason they don't want women their own age is because those women are jaded
That
Yep.
kind of thing, and then
mean
it's
and ugly. Meanwhile, most of these guys fake their lifestyle via rentals and hiring sex workers, many of which are 30-plus-year-old women that they then pass off to their gullible audiences as 20-year-olds.
basically he does like
Guys have even been caught using
like
AI to fake
gals in
women.
like steel bikinis and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
kind of
totally.
leather
Yep.
headdress and that
Yep.
kind of thing, and then it's like that's just not him. And I think he even came out at one point and was like, no, Gary didn't want that. This
Yeah,
guy,
this is
from the-
definitely a male fighter. Yeah.
yeah, this
Gifts. Often these influencers will flaunt
Gary
expensive
didn't want that.
items while
This
telling
guy.
their female audiences that their man just loves them so much, and that's why he showers them with presents.
Yeah,
Guy,
this
from
is
the-
definitely a male fighter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually a sex work transaction in which they entertain these men's fantasies for money. They're influencers, yes, but they're also sugar babies and
And I think he even came out at one point and was like, no, Gary didn't want that. This
Yeah,
guy,
this is
from the-
definitely a male fighter. Yeah.
yeah, this guy from central rural Minnesota in the 70s. He was
Yeah.
definitely thinking very
No, I mean, there's-
female
there's-
forward.
all women want an older man.
He was definitely
And this is
thinking
what makes
very
the
No, I mean,
fake
there's-
forward. Seem so real.
in my opinion,
If
there-
all older
there-
men
in
are
my-
dating younger women, then who's left for the younger men and older women? Guess everyone is just dating older or younger because that's what's popular, right? See, this is why it's important to engage in the world outside of media, because what's portrayed as popular isn't always what's
Say, oh, it's not for you, and then complain that we're not buying it.
else. In 2017, a study was conducted to find the average age gap between hetero couples in America. The results show that the gap is usually only around 1 or 3 years. But despite age gaps not being most people's main preference,
He was
people
definitely
who
thinking
frequently
very
consume this content are
female forward.
essentially
In my opinion,
retrained
there's
to
an
view love
they're not even hiding it, right?
highly conditional and transactional instead of, I don't know, for love.
He even came out at one point and was like, no, Gary didn't want that. This
Yeah,
guy,
this
from
is
the-
definitely a male fighter. Yeah.
yeah, this guy from central rural Minnesota in the 70s. He was definitely thinking very female forward.
In my opinion, they're not even hiding it, right? Like, it's an open agenda that they want to have fewer white men playing the games, and so they came out and have said it. Like, the guy who's the the head of the studio for Dungeons and Dragons want to have fewer white men playing the game.
I woke up in the middle of the night and I was covered in sweat.
In my opinion, they're not even hiding it, right? Right? Like, it's an open agenda that they want to have fewer.
Well, I had a nightmare. Turns out
Hiding
I
it,
was
right?
back
Like,
in
it's an
school, and there was a test, and the teacher asked us to write 1,000 words about a Ray's personality. Like, what makes Ray different, what makes her tick. And I was thinking, like, no, that's impossible. It cannot be done. That's child abuse, teacher. Like, stop. Cannot make me do this, because like no one can. There is nothing there.
Open agenda that they
There's
want
nothing
to
write.
have
I
fewer
just,
white
like,
men
I have
playing
seen
the
the
games,
movie,
and so
but
they,
he didn't
I
believe
mean,
that I
came
saw
out and
it.
have said it. Like, the guy who's the the head of the studio for Dungeons and Dragons said as much in interviews. I mean, okay, fine, we'll go elsewhere. I think brands can do what they want. Brands can appeal to who they want to appeal to. I'm not one to say that every brand needs to try and appeal to me. Not every brand needs to appeal to everybody. Totally okay to have Volvos, Subarus, and Porsches for different audiences. All good. But what doesn't work is when you say, "Oh, it's not for you," and then complain that we're not buying it.
Being in a country that's invaded by the enemy,
for Dungeons and Dragons said as much in an interview. I mean, okay, fine, we'll go elsewhere. You know, I think it's brands can do what they want. Brands can appeal to who they want to appeal to. I'm not one to say that every brand needs to try and appeal to me. Not every brand needs to appeal to everybody. You know, totally okay to have Volvos, Subarus, and Porsches for different audiences. All good. But what doesn't work is when
reality in favor of what's in your mind. That is what we call a delusion. Because the reality shows it's not just some trolls on the internet. Like, men like female characters, okay? Like, Tomb Raider exists. Even the Fallout show that came out, which I particularly don't like, it actually did very well.
when you say, oh, it's not for you, and then complain that we're not buying it.
Or just say it was always this way. That's the one that always. I often disagree with these, you know, the conservative side of what is woke, what isn't woke kind of arguments. But I do think where they point out that when they have to say it's retroactively always been that way. I'm like, wait, hold up.
Right.
When they have to say it's retroactively always been that way. I'm like, wait, hold up.
Right.
Because back in the day, when I was trying to show anime to people, people would be like, nah,
Hold up.
Right.
this looks lame. You know, I like my Western entertainment because it's superior. And it was like DC and Marvel at the time were beating any Japanese manga except for Dragon Ball, maybe, right? But they lost the plot. They do not have the ability
I'm like,
to
wait,
create good things
hold up.
Right.
anymore.
Right.
And when they create something, instead of going like, all right, well, we didn't quite get it right, like, let's tinker with the formula, they're like, no.
Now that when they have to say it's retroactively always been that way. I'm like, wait,
We
hold
need to
up.
Right.
tinker with the
Right.
market. If only
Right.
we can
Right.
educate the
Yeah.
customer
It's
better,
mind-boggling.
they
Like,
shit.
I can't go a week without hearing Wizards of the Coast saying they have to change something that was problematic. I think they got rid of
It can barely take a turn. It's like a really bad car, but you're like, you know what? It's the
race. They
people
made it
that are responsible
species.
for not
I think
buying
they
it.
recently. It's like big things sometimes, but it's also very obscure things. So big thing, like they can't use the term barbarian anymore. They made some changes to. There was a major bard subclass, and then I just read there like for one of these supplements. For I'm trying to think of it now. Well, what used to be called barbarian. They felt that this was offensive to Native Americans, and it's like I don't. Offensive to Native Americans.
Because they've been fans for so long
And
that
it's
they didn't
like-
want to abandon the franchise. But when Solo came out, which by the way was a pretty decent film, like it wasn't that bad. People didn't go see Solo.
This was offensive to Native Americans, and it's like I
They
don't.
lost faith in Disney. They lost faith in all of that. And the way Disney wants to recover from that, the way they wants to gain faith back from the customer is to double down.
They felt that this was offensive to Native Americans, and it's like I don't know. It just feels like they're always looking for something problematic, like they're digging to find something new that's problematic so they can come out and say we fixed it. I'm like,
Right.
who is this for?
Pretty sure like that
I'm
must
like,
one out there, you know, one that Disney didn't pay. Which
Right.
Who is this
cosplays
for?
as Rey, but like overwhelmingly women do not cosplay as this
They
character.
fixed
The
it.
toys
I'm
of
like,
this
who is
character
this
does that
for?
stuff.
Does it actually appeal to people? Because if they really care about this, you're just signaling to the progs over and over again. Actually, we are very politically incorrect. I don't know how that's a good sign pointing to the people who actually loved 80s D&D or 90s or even 2000s D&D. Heck, early 20.
How many toys they sell? How many video games want to include Darth Vader in it? How many people talk about?
It says you could still play Barbarian. It's
Right.
like, well, I never.
Half of that for Rey. And when you have that and you double down, and
It's
you're
like,
no,
well, I never.
We really want this character. We really want to force it. And you even say, oh, it's the key to the Star Wars future. Like at this point, it's not even a bad decision. It's just
Thousands
delusional.
D&D.
Like
Heck,
you
early
must
2010s,
grow
you could still
up
play
on it.
Barbarian.
I do not believe
It's
that
like,
Disney
well, I
makers
never.
do not
No
know
one
what
in their
they're
right
doing.
mind ever had a problem with
I do
any
not
of this.
believe
This
that
is
they
just
don't have
silly.
the sales data.
Well, it's like
I do not believe that they are this level of clueless and
Never had a
detached.
problem with any of this. This is just silly.
So, in the opinion of the soon-to-be franchise director, the character of Rey is the key to the future survival of the entire Star Wars franchise. Yeah, I mean, you know what? I probably agree. If you add that in, there will be no more franchise.
An offensive term, but their game is called Savage Worlds, and they can't change the name because, of course, you know, that's the brand, and that's what it's been built around, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's ridiculous. Like, either the word is okay.
In fact, I never knew that you can actually have
The world
anti-piracy
these
for
folks live in.
TV shows, but yes, you can. Like, Acolyte is so bad that it would be interesting to see a chart from like popular torrent sites and just
Barbarian.
see how many
It's
Right.
like, well, no one in their right mind ever had calling any of this. This is just silly.
Well, it's like so the game Savage Worlds. The community used to call themselves Savages, and Savage Worlds, the company that runs them, on their Facebook page now bans you if you call yourself a savage, because it's an offensive term. But their game is called Savage World, and they can't change the name because, of course, that's the brand, and that's what it's been built around, etc., etc., etc. So it's ridiculous. Like, either the word is okay or it's not okay, but it can't be the case that it's okay. But like, if I say I'm a fan of Savage World,
All right, this is fucking hilarious. I
But
can't
rules.
believe people are
the
real.
community used to call themselves Savages.
I'm not interested, and then I find out that it's the dumpster fire that I even expect.
Game
Like,
Savage
the trailer
World.
just told me everything that I need to know, and I managed to make such an accurate prediction that it actually fulfilled my expectations. So this is what's happening here, right? Like, if you have a person in charge that looks at one of the things that actually cost Disney money and got people to not watch Solo, and you're basically saying,
The community used to call themselves Savages, and Savage Worlds, the company that runs them, on their Facebook page now bans you if you call yourself a savage, because it's an offensive term. But their game is called Savage World, and they can't change the name because, of course, that's the brand, and that's what it's been built around, etc., etc., etc. So it's ridiculous. Like, either the word is okay or it's not okay, but it can't be the case that it's okay. But like, if I say I'm a fan of Savage World, I'm a savage. Like, that's silly. That's the world these folks live in.
Yeah, and I've heard. I'm trying to think of the. I feel really stupid right now, but I'm trying to think of the. It was very Conan-inspired setting in a D&D where it's like magic does exist, but it comes at a huge price.
Dark Sun.
Takes place in a desert, and I am just
Dark Sun.
trying.
It's Dark Sun.
Yeah,
Called
Dark
Dark
Sun.
Like, they told me what's going on, and I was like completely baffled. Just so you know, right? Like, if you play DK, you're the
Dark
Kugan,
Sun.
and you're like the worst person imaginable. If you want female characters in video games and movies, then you're
Exists, but it comes at a huge price.
Dark Sun.
Takes place in a desert, and I am just.
And if anyone happened to have watched that shit, please confirm if it's true or not.
Dark Sun. It's
But
Dark
then
Sun.
this guy comes in, murders a bunch of people. I think like he murders the sister of the protagonist or some shit, and then injures the protagonist.
Huge price.
Dark
but then
Sun.
kills her.
Takes place in a desert, and I am just.
Dark Sun.
trying.
It's Dark Sun.
Yeah,
Called
Dark
Dark
Sun.
Sun.
Dark Sun's
Yeah,
great,
and-
by the way.
And the world.
That you are shipping for like one of the most toxic, abusive relationships on screen. And, you know, like, it's fine. Like, if
Yeah,
that's what you're
they-
into, I'm not gonna judge. You know, far from me to judge. But these are probably some of the most judgmental people.
Dark Sun. Dark Sun's
Yeah,
great,
and-
by the way.
And the world is Athos, and magic drains the environment and is what turned it into a desert.
Yeah, and they said we're never going to go back to that, basically, because this isn't how they put it, but basically isn't
Abusive relationships that Hollywood has ever managed to produce. And this is what's being promoted, right? Meanwhile, like the Disney princess
never going to go
story,
back to that,
also
basically,
all that
because
stuff. No, that's bad.
this isn't how they put it, but basically isn't politically progressive enough. There's just too much.
Correct.
We can't fix it, so we're never going back to Dark Sun.
That's
Even though
correct.
Dark Sun,
Was awesome.
even though it hasn't been used, and so we're never going back to Dark Sun.
That's
Even though
correct.
Dark Sun
Anything else?
Was awesome.
even though it
Let's get out of the way today, guys. Let's get everything, put it all, everything on the table and go, this is what we did and this and that.
even though
Anything
Dark
else?
Sun,
Go ahead.
Was awesome.
even though it hasn't been Dark Sun,
I took these pills, and it lasted too long.
Was awesome.
even though it
4
hasn't been
days,
used.
I didn't think they would be that potent.
4 full days.
Yeah, 4 days. And so I thought,
Could have had a stroke, by the way.
no, I didn't know. No one told me.
I'm telling you now. Don't ever do that again.
Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta read.
Well, you don't need a prescription for these. You buy them at a gas station up Vermont.
Oh, you did like the little.
Extends or whatever?
No, the Mexican ones. The.
It's called like, yeah, Rhino.
Oh, the Rhino.
There's a new one that says no headache, so I got that one.
Did you get a headache?
No.
Okay, so it wasn't.
Oh, it's on the packet.
Yeah, okay, hang on.
Yeah, but the Hot Rod 5000s give you headaches, so the Rhino didn't. So I was really happy.
What's in there? Is it the same ingredients as,
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what's in it. I just take it. I know I get an erection. I learned this early on.
Do you not get an erection without it?
No, I can, but I use it as insurance. so I can have like an extra fun time.
Well, but if you're attracted to the person, then you have trouble sometimes?
Sometimes I will, so I'll get in my head and I'll start thinking, oh, like I want to watch something later. I'll like think about a million things.
Watch what later? Like a film? Or something pornographic?
No, like YouTube or something.
So
Like
you
I'll think about later in my night and like it'll affect me.
So you're sitting with the person that you're interested in, you're thinking about YouTube?
I'll think about y'all.
What? Don't. I don't think about you when I'm trying to get
So we're never going back to Dark Sun, even though Dark Sun
was awesome.
Even though it hasn't been used, and you know, I don't think they've hardly put out any materials in a decade and a half.
When I think of y'all, my boner goes down.
Okay, when do you think about who have you
Right,
who
it's
was the
very
last person you
popular.
hooked up with that you had
Yep.
no
Yeah, I
thoughts
mean,
like that it was just free and it was that long ago?
No, I probably like years.
You haven't hooked up with someone in years that you felt comfortable just getting a hard on and not thinking about life?
Yeah, it's been years. I have I take medicine for it. It's been a couple movies.
That's incredible.
It's been what do you mean it's in a couple movies?
I related to one of these characters. I saw a movie called Red Rocket with Simon Rex, and he had to take the pills all the time.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, but Dark Sun had Cannibal Halfling.
So yeah.
What happened?
Well, then it's not permitted.
And like the insurance stopped working, and I got really upset.
In the middle of it.
Yes.
It has nothing to do with me and the deception. I was saying, what? Like, I don't care about your personal life. I could have done that too, dude.
Oh,
No. What I'm saying is
God damn, I didn't get through that much.
Where you lied to me or just kind of way.
I thought we were
That your fault. Listen, I can do the same thing. Yeah.
No, but I do like life stories. It is really.
But they're not in this segment. There's segments, dude, in this show.
Yeah, I was getting honest with my buddies here.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
Very nice.
I mean, it's just like, I can't. Yeah, I don't know about these people. I think we should start anew.
You know, and if it's not 2020 Seattle, then it's not permitted.
Yeah, people are talking about currently they released some art for their upcoming stuff, and there were two images, and both of them are horrible. One is where they have a bunch of orcs, but it's like
You're an intern.
Yeah, but anyway,
Well, look,
let me think about
if you want to clear house, we'll get these guys out of here.
I really do. I mean,
but it's like
what I want to say to you.
well, one is where they have a bunch of orcs, but it's like it's like I don't know.
Like a spaghetti western works. Yeah.
Excuse me.
This guy.
Like a spaghetti western works. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is not a comedy show.
Yeah, I'm just trying to be. Hello.
Alright, this is where I know what they're talking about, so I'm gonna have to source
So what I wanted to
some
say-
images. It's a good time to call it quits.
It's like a spaghetti western works. Yeah.
Yes, Hispanic orcs, and it's pretty cringe. And the other one was, and people have said this kind of as a joke, but they seem to be they seem to be trying to live up to the joke, where it's like a coffee shop setting. It's
Yeah,
painful.
with the dwarves and like somebody's getting pastries and yeah.
Stop.
Like-
I get genuine. I get out of shit.
To be trying to live up to the joke, where it's like a coffee shop setting. It's
Yeah,
painful.
And I don't like
You know what, dude? I don't even have to say it to them because this is how I feel, so I can just say it to.
It's
Yeah, with the
painful.
dwarves and like somebody's getting pastries and yeah.
I'll just
Yeah.
say it to that
It,
wall.
it's
The
it,
audience. Well, no,
The
it's
audience. Oh, yeah.
a camera, that's a wall.
Oh, yes, please, dude.
Well, I don't want to coach you. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Please.
You do as you may.
All right. So what I want to say
is and yeah. Yeah.
since the
It,
beginning of
it's
Backtrack,
it's just
it's been an adventure. When I was a young guy, I was like, it was never part of my dream to do this, but it was like, was I mistaken? Because wow, this has been a fucking wild ride. and
it's
been one of
it's
the
just
greatest things I've
ridiculous.
ever experienced.
It's just
And the
ridiculous.
people were-
Wow.
it's almost
It
just
is
like
it is
That
kind
is-
of crazy.
be there.
That is-
like we all fit
that-
like
that
a
is crazy.
fucking puzzle, dude. Right, and when you put the puzzles together, it's a beautiful painting.
And sometimes
Yeah.
a rogue piece gets in there.
Exactly.
What puzzle is this?
What puzzle piece is this?
What does this go to?
Yeah, and then that road piece, McCone, right?
But Andrew Hammer.
And want to destroy you,
As
like
hard as I
we
could.
just
I
not
said,
pulling any
"You gotta
punches.
So it's basically
Yeah, which by the
gigantic puzzle of a gigantic butterfly. But the rope piece you can
Demons
tell
are
is the edge
full
of
on
the soft
evil
spot.
and want to destroy you, like
Alright.
we just not
So
pulling
I'm
any
like
punches.
trying to jam in this little tiny swastika piece inside this butterfly.
Yeah.
And then the whole thing becomes very Nazi.
Right.
Yeah.
It's Nazi propaganda.
Right. So what I have to do is I have to fucking unpuzzle it.
Right.
Pull and want to destroy you, like, we just not pulling any
And
punches.
go buy a new puzzle.
And buy a Minecraft.
Yeah, which,
Yeah,
by
you
the
can just
way,
all over
I don't know why this needs to be set is an endorsement of any of that. Like, that's great in a fantasy, you know, in fiction.
But I'll tell you what, you're right. I think you need to throw away this old puzzle. It's not worth it.
All right, that's all I have in me tonight,
My old puzzle pieces. But it's not fitting together anymore.
editing wise.
Oh yeah? What you doing, dude?
Went for a little under 2 hours.
Lies in the sea are gonna get you there, bud.
Yeah.
That's
You
right.
too, dude.
Yeah. Thank you.
3 hours in this.
No, I said you too. I love you.
Oh, I love you too.
I was kind of
That's
not
what I was
paying
saying.
attention.
Like you too.
Well,
You too.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been working at Optimum. I'm not a.
But you too, in terms of love.
I love you.
I love you too.
Hey,
Tomorrow night,
Who do you think is the highest grossing
I'll come back
touring musical artist of last
with
year?
more, having more rest,
Correct. Who's number 2?
Whoa. That's a good one.
and I'll be on my Ritalin,
Mm.
and I'll tackle this.
I know you.
I have to start
Oh, really?
sourcing
Yeah, I got
images
it.
though now.
Yeah, yeah.
These guys don't fucking have it.
Did Harry Styles go last
I'm
night?
gonna have to rewatch this.
Not too, though.
These
I
number
have to
5.
find those Mexican orcs
Okay.
and the
Did I get it?
You got it?
fucking
Number 3.
I don't know if I.
You're this good. You've gotten fucking
D&D
3
in
or
a
5.
coffee
You can't
shop
knock out 2 more?
nonsense
So
that they're
Bells went out
talking
there,
about.
last year.
I'm gonna tell you this.
Yeah. The group?
Thanks to Terrorball for
This number
hanging out with
3
me for a minute.
Group 5.
is a group. No,
Thanks
but that's a very
to
good
whoever
list.
else is
This is
watching
a
me
group,
on
and it's a
Twitch
group where
as
you
I
go-
speak.
I mean, yeah, they were very, very popular.
And until next time, which I think it's only 3:11, I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna eat something, and I think I'm gonna come back with a Mad Max stream. So
No.
No, okay.
Now you're going.
if you're on YouTube, like, subscribe, and hit that bong for notifications. I don't know if there's notifications on Twitch, mystery other person, but hit that notification, whatever it is, if it's there. People on Kick? Is there anyone there on Kick?
I guess. Yeah. No.
Oh.
Keep doing it.
They all heard it.
Yeah, there might be a couple people. Fucking,
Coldplay. Yeah.
follow me here on Kick if you're watching.
That doesn't surprise me.
But yeah, until next time, motherfuckers. Make sure to stay metal and hail Satan. Goodbye for now.
I get silly, like something like a Philly.